Picture this, a young boy comes down the stairs on Christmas morning, and there, right in front of him, he sees, well, his brother trying to open presents with his mouth, but behind that he sees Donkey Kong Country. That's where my story with this game began. Donkey Kong Country is a platform game that came out way back in 1994 for the Super Nintendo Entertainment Console. In it, you play as the dynamic duo Donkey Kong and his nephew Diddy Kong on their quest to recapture Donkey's banana hoard from the evil King K. Rool. Donkey and Diddy are not alone on this quest. As you progress through, you'll meet up with various other Kongs as well as a wide range of animal companions that will help you along your journey. These include Cranky Kong, who gives you helpful hints and tips about secret areas in various levels. Candy Kong, who's supposed to be, I guess, Donkey's girlfriend, who helps you save your game progress along the way so that if you die, you go back to that point. And Funky Kong, who has this barrel airplane that will allow you to transport yourself back to different levels that you've already beaten. As well, among the game's 40 levels, there are a bunch of animal companions that are hidden out in these boxes that if you break open, you get to hop on and ride them, each with their own various abilities. For example, you've got Rambi the Rhino, who can charge straight through walls and barrel down enemies no problem. Or Unguard the Swordfish, who you can hop on when you're in underwater levels, who allows you to take out enemies a lot quicker and swim much faster. Donkey Kong Country has a surprising amount of mechanics mixed into each of the levels. These include things like vines that help you swing across gaps, tires that you can bounce on to get to higher platforms, or a wide range of barrels that will spin around or whatever that you can shoot yourself out of that create these interesting little barrel timing sequences that can be really fun and some of them really challenging. A definite highlight for me has to be the minecart sequences. There are only a few of these sprinkled throughout the game, but when you come upon them, they are really special. I know when I was a kid, I used to go back and play the same level over and over again just because I loved to use the minecarts for some reason. It was a lot of fun. On top of all this stuff that's sprinkled throughout the regular levels, there are tons of secret areas and hidden things for you to find in all of these levels. These come in the form of extra lives that are balloons, different color balloons that give you 1, 2, or 3 extra lives, as well as secret hidden walls that if you hit with a barrel, it'll open up a door that'll get you access to a bonus mini game. There are tons of different types of bonus mini games that you'll come across, giving you things like extra lives or little tokens, animal tokens, that if you collect 3 of them, you go into even more bonus games to collect more lives. There is so much stuff just hidden in all these levels to find. It is definitely worth it to track down all these hidden things and accumulate as many lives as possible because the music and the screen it shows when you game over is heartbreaking. I try to avoid it at all costs. Donkey Kong Country has included a couple of multiplayer modes, Contest and Cooperative. In Contest, you go against another player and try to get through all the levels as fast as possible. In Cooperative, you'll play with them, each controlling one of the Kongs and taking over when the other one falls down. On top of the basic game, these multiplayer modes add a few more hours into the game, allowing you to have some fun with your friends, either competing or going cooperative, to enjoy the experience together. The graphics for the time period were incredibly well done. The amount of detail that they managed to cram into the backgrounds and the levels and the overworld and each of the Kongs and the enemies and just all of it is incredibly well done. It really lends itself well to that nostalgic Super Nintendo retro feel. I know when I think back to those time periods, this is exactly the kind of aesthetic that I think of. Really well done. The music and sound in Donkey Kong Country work together to really bring this game to life and to put in some excitement and energy into each of these levels. The soundtrack is awesome. Some really catchy tunes in Donkey Kong Country. Just makes you want to dance. Donkey Kong Country takes about 2 hours to beat, plus or minus an hour, depending on how much time you spent finding secrets and how hard you found the game. There are some really difficult sections that I definitely got stuck on. Some of those barrel timing sequences I died a lot and almost couldn't pass. But there's not a lot of game here, so to really get a ton of hours out of this game, you gotta either play it through a few times or hook up with a friend and compete against one another to get a lot of time out of this game. Donkey Kong Country is the full package for a Super Nintendo game. Yes, it does have some issues with the difficulty in some parts getting stuck, as well as it being relatively short, only 40 levels and about 2 hours of gameplay. Would have liked to seen it a bit longer, but the beautiful aesthetic and the music and sounds really bring this game to life, as well as the tons of mechanics that they've crammed in each of these levels that make it super interesting and a lot of fun to play through. That's why my final verdict for Donkey Kong Country is a 9 out of 10. An excellent game, well worth going back and checking out if you have the time. Well, that's it for Donkey Kong Country. I was able to go back and play this game with the help of an emulator that I got on my computer. If you want to see a tutorial about how to do that, click right here for a video about how to get a Super Nintendo emulator onto your computer as well. Or click up here for another great review here on Yes Guy Gaming. I gotta thank you guys so much for watching, and we hope to see you next time.